Welcome back, everyone, to the Haunted Mansion Tournament Expert Division Weekend Round, hole number 5. Here we're going to be playing a King Slayer, setting up for preferably a B52 bounce-up shot. You can use Grizzly 8 plus here, but if you're going to use Grizzly 8, there's a little bit of math involved, and you have to play it with B52 level 7 numbers in your app. I'll go over that in a second. The adjustment for the drive is P3 plus 10% max. We're using 5 top spin and 1 right spin if you're playing with the B52. If you're playing with the Grizzly 8, you'll need to use 5.8 top spin, 1 right spin. If you're playing with the Grizzly 9, you'll need to use 5.5 top spin and 1 right spin. That's if you're using a King Slayer P3 ball. If you use a P4 Wind 4 ball with your Grizzly, then that'll give you the extra distance you need to be inside of the checks that we're going to be set up for our approach shot. So, I mean, I recommend using the B52. You should be able to get away with level 5 plus and be good to go. For your drive, you want to pull a slight 1201 flicker. Basically, you just want to make sure you're not pulling any 1159 on your drive, because the rough goes up and to the right, and if you pull it too far to the right, then it's not very great safe. So if you just make sure that you're pulling a slight 01 on your drive, you should be good to go. Without spins before you add spins to your drive, we're going to push up and play the bottom of the +3. Like you see here, I'm at the bottom of the +3. The ball guide is just going over the top of the rock, and the tip of the ball guide is clipping the rough, and you can see it short there. So this is the bottom of the +3. It's the same position for all level Apox 5 plus. If you wiggle this back and forth slightly, left and right, you'll see that you're in a sticky spot. And you want to be just left of the point on the little rock here. So there's a little gray piece of rock that comes down into the rough, makes a point like that. You want to make sure that you're set up to the left side of that. You'll be in the sticky spot. You'll be at the bottom of the +3. And your ball guide should be rolling along. That's before adding spins. So that's to make sure that you're getting in the same spot every time, no matter what level APOC you have, 5 plus. Once you get there, just adjust. No overpower. You'll use whatever overpower you pull into. No curl. Whatever overpower you pull into. I don't think I've pulled more than maybe a half a ring. Maybe slightly more than a half a ring of overpower here. So it's not much overpower, if any. That drive should get us anywhere from 353 to 359-ish, depending on, you know, how strong your wind is, how much overpower you put, and so on. For our approach shot, it plays P3 plus 15% at slider. There's 2 things that you can do to get your slider values here. You can either do a pin check like you see here, right? Or you can use your drive yards to determine your slider value, and I'll go over those numbers in a minute. So if you're doing your pin check, this is what it's going to look like. If you're using drive yards, you're just going to go straight up. The approach shot plays no spin. What we're going to do is be aiming at the hole, but our second bounce, which is right, I need to hit the edit button. Our second bounce here, you want that to be in the middle of the fringe. If you have winds 6.8 or lower, you want to make sure that that second bounce is center of the fringe or just above center of the fringe. If you set up too low with your second bounce, then that line that runs, that fringe green line, will kick the ball off to the side, and there's a chance that you miss the shot. The tip of the ball guide should be just through the hole, and you should have the left side of the ball guide touching the right side of the flag stick. Right here, I'm kind of aimed just barely right of center. I should have been a click further to the right. We want the left side of the ball guide touching the right side of the stick. We want the second bounce to be either in the center of the fringe for lower winds, or you want that second bounce to be just inside the top edge of the fringe if you have higher winds 6.9 or above. And always have the left side of the ball guide touching the stick. All right, that's for the approach shot. It's no spin, so it's real easy. If you got low winds, line up your second bounce in the middle of the fringe, and then slide your ball guide over till it's just touching the flag stick. So you'll be going through the right center of the cup. And if you have the higher winds, just make sure the second bounce is on the top, inside the fringe, but on the top of the fringe. So after that, the only thing you need to know is if you're playing a Grizzly here, whether it's level 8 or level 9, make sure you're using B52 level 7 in the app. Make sure that if you are using a Grizzly 9, that you minus 6+ yards from the slider values I'm going to give you in a minute. If you're using Grizzly 8, then you'll need to minus 9+ yards from the slider value that I'm going to give you. The reason is that 6 and 9 yards short respectively. So, for example, if your Grizzly 9 drive goes 358 yards, then you'll end up using the slider value for 352 yards, right? That's why I recommend using the B52, so you can eliminate all the different things that you need to do with the Grizzly, because it plays, it's a shorter club and it plays differently than the B52. But I'm putting it in there for those of you that don't have B52 level 5+. For the drive yards to slider adjustments, it's as follows. It starts at 350 yards, and that equals 41% slider, and it goes up by 1% per from there. So 351 is 40 slider, 352 is 39, 353 is 38, 354 is 37, and so on. If you're doing the bullseye pin check, the 0 plus 0 is 32% slider, plus 1 is 33, plus 2 is 34, plus 3 is 35. It goes up 1% per from there as well. So pretty simple. As far as the checks go, it only kind of gets a little complicated if you're using a Grizzly, and that's only because you have to do a little quick math on the fly because of the yardage difference. So really good chance at getting the eagle here using a Kingslayer. One other note for the approach shot, you want to pull it straight. If anything, you might want to have a slight 1201 flicker, but make sure you're not pulling any 1159 on the approach. So good luck. I hope you all get the drops, and we'll catch you on the next one.